Many people think that the human experience is defined by our emotions and what we can take and learn from them. In the film The Giver, humanity has gone through a crisis, and now all that is left are communities of people ruled over by elders. In these communities, humans have no emotion and need to take daily injections and medicine in order to control this lack of emotions. The elders also assign jobs to everyone as they come of age, and our protagonist, Jonas, ends up becoming the receiver of memory, the only person in the community who has emotions and knows about humanity before the crisis. As he learns more about emotions and begins to learn about pain, he comes to a conclusion which leads him to try and change something. This film is based on the novel of the same name, written by Lois Lowry, and follows the original material relatively closely until the end of the film. I really enjoyed reading this novel and watching the film, except for the ending of the film. In the ending of the film, they make the story focus more on a relationship between two of the characters instead of the larger and more important themes of knowledge and freedom like in the book. For example, in the novel, the ending is quite ambiguous and leaves the reader with multiple ways to interpret it, but the film seems to want it to wrap up the loose ends. Another aspect of the film which I disliked was that during the ending, there was a sequence that was very CGI heavy, and it took the viewer out of the immersion from the film. It changed from a dramatic film to a more of an action-style sequence, and I found this part of the ending was unnecessary. It seems to take away from the gravity of what is happening, and instead of thinking about the society, focuses on the character and their development. What I enjoyed about the film is how it portrays government control, and I feel like this message applies very well to our current situation. Obviously, in The Giver, the government has too much control, but I interpreted it as being more about the appropriate measures. I also liked how it dealt with censorship and misinformation, which are very relevant topics in our society. As Jonas learns more about what had been hidden from the community, he realizes that for this utopia to exist, there could be no place for joy or sadness. This leads to the question of, is a utopia worth it if it means giving up all of the good that comes with the bad? I found this aspect very interesting, as this has been a topic of discussion that humanity has had for centuries. How far can our freedoms go before they start to encroach on other people's freedoms? Like in The Giver, is it worth it to give up our joy so that no one can experience sadness? This contrasts our individualistic society quite intensely, as our current values seem to be completely different. Almost the opposite of The Giver, our society is showing that if you leave people about their own emotions, they can cause a lot of trouble and harm. I found it very interesting to create parallels between The Giver and the issues in our society. The elders in The Giver may fully believe that they are in the right and what they are doing is for the greater good, but good intentions do not excuse ignorance. Many people in our current society feel as if they are doing what is right and good, when in actuality they are putting many people at risk and even themselves at risk. Even if these people think that they are in the right, there needs to be something done about the misinformation that we are seeing every day. Anti-vaccine people are breaking the law by blockading the US-Canada border, but the government is still doing nothing. This non-intervention is basically the complete opposite of how they would have reacted in The Giver to people not complying. I'm not saying that we need to take away people's emotions, but that government control can be good and is sometimes necessary, like in the case of a pandemic. These themes contrast our society in a way which makes our reality seem quite dystopian as well. To conclude, I enjoyed watching The Giver and really had a lot of fun connecting it with our society's current issues. The film has its positives and negatives, but overall is still a decent watch. If you are interested in the themes or the contrasts that come from the film, the novel offers a more in-depth view into the world of The Giver and also offers a better end, in my opinion.